I'm Victoria Jane and this is GigPigs from the studio and I'm with Becky Langan right now. How are you feeling?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here and I'm excited to hear your session because I feel like it's completely different to everything and everyone we've had on before. But Rochdale, born and bred.
Rochdale girl.
Love
Shout out
that.
to Rochdale.
Shout out to Rochdale. Taking it back because you've been playing for a while now, haven't you? When was it you started?
So I started to play when I was 11. I'm 31 now.
Oh my God, you've got you've got good skin. You don't look 31. Wow.
I shouldn't do my lifestyle, but anyway, but this actual style that I play, I started at 14. So I was quite lucky, really. You know, I stumbled across a guy called Andy McKee on YouTube, and I'd never seen the guitar being played like that. And considering I wasn't a vocalist, it just really made sense to me. So I detuned my guitar and then just kind of started from there. And it sounded horrific for a very long time.
That's so crazy that you started at such a young age, though. Do you feel like having started at such a young age has given you more confidence now because you've done it for so long?
Yeah, like I was always a very shy kid and teenager. So, you know, like getting to the point where I'm playing on stage was never something that was natural. I used to not speak on stage. I used to feel sick, you know. I used to get really anxious, and then it's just got to a point where it's the only place where I can kind of be myself. Not the only place, but I really feel like it brings, you know, me out, which is just really nice.
It's a comfort, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge comfort, you know, for people to appreciate what you do. Like, that's just incredible thing to have. So,
and then you just before we was talking and Becky mentioned that she started singing in lockdown. So let's talk about that because I feel like it's a leap to pick up, to even start playing an instrument, but then to start singing as well. What made you want to start singing in lockdown?
So I was just really bored and frustrated, and I found that I just got a lot of comfort in singing, you know, just doing mundane things. Like, I realised I could practice whilst just carrying on with, you know, like life you know, and it's just, I do it every day. But I'm at the point where I don't think I'm ready to share it just yet, but I think I can see myself sharing it in a few years.
It's exciting though.
Yeah, it is exciting, but I don't know how I'm going to incorporate this with what I do. I know many talented artists do that, but I need to kind of learn how to do that myself. So,
well, it's all a part of the journey, I feel like, and even just experimenting with other things, other sounds, it just makes you stronger as an artist. And, and knowing what, like we said before, it's hard to figure out your sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
And figure out what you want to put out to the world. But you've already made such an impact as a musician. And talk to me about your impact in Manchester, in the city, because I feel like you have, for guitarists anyway, you have made a strong impact.
Thank you. So it's quite interesting. So I don't have a music background in terms of education. I actually studied animal behaviour.
That's crazy.
Then, so I was going to university studying that, and then in the evenings I go to open mic nights like Thirsty Scholar, you know, places like that. And that's how I started to build up my confidence. And then I just started getting paid gigs, and you know, and then like festivals and. But in 2016, just after I graduated, that's when I ended up on Sky Arts TV on Guitar Star.
Which is mad.
Which completely changed my life, because then that led me down the path that I'm on now, because it was a now or never situation. So, yeah.
And what was it like? Because I feel like everyone has an idea of what a TV situation is going to be like. Well, what was it like for you actually experiencing it?
Things were so fast and bizarre that I didn't process things until afterwards. But it was one of those like in the moment things where I was just making the most of every single moment of being on that show and having the privilege of being in that position. And the people I met as well, I met some really amazing musicians. And yeah, you know, just being in the same room as George Benson,
That's
is
crazy.
slightly frightening and
Really?
intimidating. Yeah, it's quite scary.
Gosh.
But yeah, they were all lovely people, and I'm grateful for the experience.
It's like such a massive thing to have done that. So congrats.
Thank
So
you.
I hope people are still congratulating you on that for years to come, because it's a big achievement.
Thank you.
And I wanted to, obviously you've done loads of gigs, you've done festivals, played so many places. What is one of your favourite places to have played?
I played at this concert in Bremen in Germany once, and it was called the Women of Emotion Festival. So it was to celebrate women, and it was on International Women's Day. And
amazing.
there was like hundreds of people in the audience, and it was one of those situations where you don't get that very often as a musician. So when you do, you just have to be like, just make the most of it. And yeah, the adrenaline rush that you get from performing in front of so many people. But I've also had some really great intimate gigs, you know. I've had quite a few. Like I've had some like house concerts that were one of my favourite gigs, and it's just, I don't really have many favourites. I just kind of liked them all, but they were all unique. Yeah.
I love that for you. And what is like next in line for Becky? What have you got coming up this year?
So I'm actually releasing an album on the 21st of February.
Amazing.
In a couple of days. So that will be on Spotify. And
what's it called?
It's called Route to Rebirth. And yeah, so I've released a couple of singles already, done some music videos, and that's going to be out there really soon. But that was very tiring.
Really? Why?
It was just so tiring. It's like each track has an individual meaning, and you're literally going through the thought process of the emotions and feelings of everything that's put into each track. And it sounds bizarre to someone who's not a musician, but when you're writing, you're channeling a specific energy, you know, which is something that you're feeling in that moment, and you have to relive it because you're practicing it and practicing it. And it was so rewarding though, you know, but it was quite tiring, and I'm kind of relieved that it's done.
I mean, performing it though again is like is going back through those emotions, isn't it? So how do you kind of how do you perform it knowing that it's a lot there to kind of handle?
I think like when you're in a situation, when you're in a gig, you're bouncing off the energy of the audience as well. But when you're in a studio, it's just you and that microphone. So it's slightly more intimate. So I feel like a little bit more kind of vulnerable in the studio. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's different for other people, but and yeah, and the more that you perform it, the more you normalize those emotions, and maybe people in the audience can connect to the meaning behind those tracks. So yeah, it's kind of a win-win situation.
That's going to be so exciting to hear though. And how many songs are on the project?
There's 10.
10 songs?
Yeah, there was going to be 11, but I dropped one because I panicked.
Oh gosh, well, wait, maybe you can release it later on as like a little bonus track.
I do have it, I might do.
Oh, that would be great. Well, I'll end on this final question. What is one thing you couldn't live without being on your rider at a gig? Has to be on the rider.
This sounds so weird.
What?
A tennis ball.
Oh!
I've actually brought one.
Have you actually? Oh my God! Wait, I need the explanation.
I have chronic back pain from playing guitar. So like, you know, if you put it in a sock, even better, because then you've got more motion.
I love that. That is
so. Yeah, if I ever go to the bathroom, I'm basically doing yoga.
Yeah. If anyone's like knocking on the door, give me a minute.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for this.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
So far. Make sure you check out Becky's From the Studio session.